Hello friends, I hope you all are doing fine. Today we are going to discuss about punctuation marks. Have you ever seen these marks in any of the writings? Yes, we come across these very regularly, but today we are going to learn all of them in detail. Punctuation marks. These are symbols that are used to aid the clarity and comprehension of written language. The correct use of punctuation marks is an important technique used by writers to convey meaning in a clear and simple way. This means that punctuation marks are pauses or gestures which are used to clarify the meaning of our words. And they are signals to the readers that indicate pause, place emphasis, alter the function, or show the relationship between the elements of the text. Importance of punctuation marks. The marks of punctuation have a very important role in giving the intended meaning to the language. The use of the wrong placement of such marks can change the meaning of the sentence completely and sometimes even convert the sentence to a complete nonsense. For example, eats, shoots and leaves versus eats, shoots and leaves. There is a huge difference in the meaning of both these sentences, and the credit of the same goes to the punctuation marks that we have used. Let's eat, Grandma versus let's eat, Grandma. Isn't this hilarious? How a punctuation mark, a small punctuation mark, can change the meaning of a sentence? Yes, it is. These are some of the punctuation marks that we usually come across. We will deal with all of them one by one. So the first punctuation mark that we are going to learn about is full stop, which is also called a period. A full stop is used at the end of the sentence and the next sentence begins with a capital letter. This we have been learning since the very beginning. For example, the girls wish to watch TV, full stop. They will be going tomorrow, full stop. So, wherever the sentence ends, you put a full stop. A full stop is also used with an abbreviation and with acronyms. For example, etc. is written as etc. dot. MR dot is an abbreviation. BBC, AM are other examples. The next punctuation mark is comma. This is also one of those punctuation marks that we use commonly. A comma marks a slight break between different parts of a sentence. And here's how it is used. Using commas in lists. For example, the flag was saffron, comma, white, comma, and green, full stop. Or using commas in direct speech. For example, that's mine, comma, she said. Using commas to separate clauses. That is, when a subordinate or a less important clause comes before the principal clause. For example, if you do not go, help me. Using commas to separate phrases in apposition. That is, describing the same person or thing mentioned earlier from the rest of the sentence. For example, Mr. Mohanty, the doctor, said that he travelled to Calcutta. So here the opposition is the doctor, which tells us about Mr. Mohanty. So this is how a comma is used. Moving on, the next punctuation mark is a semicolon. A semicolon is used to join two independent but related clauses or sentences. For example, she is a good writer. Semicolon. She has published several books. Or, the film was a critical success. Semicolon. Its lead actors were particularly praised. So, in these two examples, a semicolon is used to join two independent but related clauses and sentences. It can also separate clauses of conjunctive adverbs such as however, therefore, moreover. We shouldn't go to the market. However, I do hear that there are good shops. The next punctuation mark is colon. The use of a colon indicates that what follows is an explanation of what precedes it. For example, they have some news about the story. John's father has arrived. It is also used to introduce a list of items. To travel, you need the following items: a passport, a visa, an application, and the correct fee. It is used before a quotation and sometimes before direct speech. For example, the headline read, "Local woman saves trees." Used between two main clauses in cases where the second clause explains or follows from the first. We have a motto: live life king size. A colon is used to separate hours and minutes. So, when we write time, we use a colon in between. A colon is used to separate elements of a mathematical ratio. The ratio of girls to boys is 1:2. The next punctuation mark is the apostrophe. Using apostrophes to show possession. For example, the boys' books. So, when the noun is singular, we put an apostrophe before the S, like in this example. But when the noun is plural, we use an apostrophe after the plural word, like in this one, the boys' books. An apostrophe is used when telling the time. It is 8 o'clock. Using apostrophes to show omission or contraction, or in common language we also call this short forms. For example, I'm afraid the girls aren't going out. So in this example, I'm is a contraction of the words I am. We didn't think about the consequences of our actions. Exclamation mark. An exclamation mark is used to signal the expression of a strong emotion, such as excitement, I can't wait to meet her, or panic, help me. An exclamation mark is used to add an emphasis to the sentence. Compare the two sentences. There's a fly in my cup versus there's a fly in my cup. An exclamation mark can also be used in brackets after a statement to show that the writer finds it funny or ironic. Now, this is something that we don't use in our day-to-day life. This is a very literary thing. Next is the question mark. A question mark is used to indicate the end of a question. That means when you're asking something to someone, we use a question mark. For example, what time are you going to the temple? A question mark can also be used in brackets to show that the writer is unconvinced by a statement. The bus timetable appears to be accurate. So here, because the writer is not sure about this, he has put a question mark in the bracket. Use a question mark at the end of a question tag, a statement followed by a short question. For example, you speak English, don't you? Ellipsis. An ellipsis is used to show that the speaker has been cut off abruptly or interrupted. An ellipsis, that is the three dots, indicates that part of the text has been intentionally left out. For example, whatever you do, don't, or 0, 2, 4, ellipsis 100. An ellipsis is used to indicate a trailing off in speech or thought. We could do this. Or maybe that. A slash. Slash is used with fractions. Example, 1 by 2 or 1/2, 2 by 3 or 2/3. Use a slash to separate the day, month and a year in dates. And this is the most common usage of the slash. A hyphen is used between parts of a compound word or name. It is also used to split a word by syllables to fit on a line of text. The 15-year-old girl is a full-time student. A hyphen may separate, in some cases, the prefix from the second part of words. For example, t-shirt. A hyphen may join some compound words. For example, 21 or long term. Parenthesis. Parentheses or brackets are often used to include extra or additional information into a sentence. For example, the library, which was built by the British, needs to be repaired. Parentheses give additional but non-essential information in a sentence. For example, I know French, American and Spanish, but not Chinese languages. Square brackets. Square brackets are used to clarify, to help the reader understand the sentences. For example, she drove 60 on the highway to town. So here, kilometers per hour has been put up in square brackets. Next punctuation mark is dash. M dash is used to indicate a break, often informally, or to add parenthetical information. For example, they received a prize and a certificate as well. We bought markers, papers, pens and notebooks, all of which were on sale. Whereas N dash is used to indicate a range. For example, 1939 to 1945. Now, the N dash is slightly longer than the hyphen, but not as long as the M dash. A common myth holds that the N dash is in fact the width of a typesetter's letter N, whereas the M dash is the width of the letter M, thus their names. M is a typographical unit of measurement. Inverted commas. Inverted commas can be single or double. They are also known as quotation marks, speech marks, or quotes. To mark the beginning and end of direct speech, that is, something being written exactly as it was originally said or written. As you can see here in the example, there wasn't, he said, any need for you to say that. She said, let's eat. To mark off a word or phrase that's being discussed or that's being directly quoted from somewhere else. For example, they called it the land of milk and honey. Or to draw attention to an unusual, ironic, or arguably inaccurate use. The food she put on our plates was inedible. So, these were the 14 punctuation marks that we generally use in our writing. I hope you all have understood. Do drop in a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for updates. I will come up with more interesting videos. Until then, see you all. Bye-bye.